Have you ever felt like you have to do everything yourself? That asking for help is a sign of weakness. It's a common feeling, but let me tell you, it might be the single biggest obstacle standing between you and your dreams. This is a story about a young man named David, a carpenter with a huge dream. He didn't just want to build furniture. He wanted to build a massive furniture store, the kind that would put his small town on the map. But dreams like that don't come easy. David was short on cash, and to make matters worse, many people in his community thought his ambition was just a foolish fantasy. They'd whisper behind his back, shaking their heads at his grand plans. But David was stubborn. He was determined to prove them all wrong, all by himself. He started small, pouring every ounce of his energy into his craft. He'd spend his days carving intricate designs into small pieces of furniture, like wooden toys and decorative boxes. Then he'd load them onto a rickety cart and travel to the nearby city, hoping to sell them at the market. Every coin he earned was a small victory, a step closer to his goal. It was a tough, lonely grind. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into months. Finally, after what felt like an eternity of selling small trinkets, he saved just enough to buy the wood he needed for his very first big order, a complete set of dining furniture for a wealthy merchant. This was his chance, his big break. David locked himself in his workshop, the scent of sawdust filling the air. He worked day and night, barely stopping to eat or sleep. His hands were calloused and his muscles ached. But the thought of finishing that order and proving his worth kept him going. He poured his heart and soul into every joint, every curve, every polished surface. When he finally delivered the finished pieces, the merchant was stunned. The quality was beyond anything he had expected. The word of David's incredible craftsmanship started to spread like wildfire. He had done it. He had completed his first major challenge, and he had done it completely on his own. That feeling of self-reliance was intoxicating. It reinforced his belief that he didn't need anyone. Soon, an even bigger opportunity knocked on his door. A new hotel was being built in the city, and the owner, impressed by David's work, wanted him to furnish the entire building. This was it. This was the contract that could turn his dream of a furniture store into a reality. But there was a huge problem. The project required a massive amount of capital up front for materials, far more than David had. Panic started to set in. He was so close, yet so far. He didn't want to ask anyone for a loan, especially not the people who had doubted him from the start. His pride wouldn't let him. Desperate, he made a heart-wrenching decision. He sold the only thing of real value he had left, a beautiful, antique pocket watch, a keepsake from his late father. It felt like he was selling a piece of his own heart. But he told himself it was a necessary sacrifice for his dream. With the money from the watch, David bought a mountain of wood and threw himself into the project with a desperate frenzy. The workshop became his entire world. He worked from before the sun rose until long after the moon was high in the sky. He ignored the gnawing hunger in his stomach and the exhaustion that weighed down his body. Sleep was a luxury he couldn't afford. His world shrank to the dimensions of his workshop, filled with the constant sounds of sawing, hammering, and sanding. He was a man possessed, driven by the singular goal of finishing the order on time. He was convinced that this superhuman effort was what it took to be successful. He was building his dream, but he was also destroying himself. One evening, his mother came to the workshop, her face etched with worry. She found him slumped over his workbench, looking pale and gaunt. The once vibrant and energetic young man was now a shadow of his former self. She placed a bowl of warm soup in front of him, but he barely noticed. Gently, she put her hand on his shoulder. "David," she said softly, her voice filled with love and concern, "I am so proud of your passion and your talent. But look at you. You are running yourself into the ground. Your health is the most precious thing you have. Without it, what good is a furniture store or any dream?" David tried to argue, to say he was fine, that he had it under control. But his mother saw right through his defenses. She continued, "You think asking for help is a sign of weakness, don't you? You think you have to carry this entire burden on your own to prove your strength." She paused, letting her words sink in. "My dear son, that isn't strength. That's pride. True strength, true wisdom, lies in knowing when you can't do it alone and having the courage to ask for support. There is no shame in leaning on others. That's what a community is for." Her words hit David like a physical blow. He looked at his trembling hands, at the half-finished chairs and tables scattered around him, and at the impossible timeline looming over him. For the first time, he admitted to himself that she was right. He couldn't do it. Not alone. That night, David finally got some rest. The next morning, with a heavy heart but a newfound clarity, he walked into the village square. He swallowed his pride, that stubborn pride that had almost cost him everything. He stood before the very people who had once doubted him, and he spoke from the heart. He explained the massive hotel order, the tight deadline, and his own foolish attempt to do it all by himself. He didn't make excuses. He just laid his vulnerability bare and asked for their help. He expected to be met with laughter or more skepticism, the "I told you so" looks. But that's not what happened. Instead, something amazing occurred. An old carpenter, a man who had been quiet until now, stepped forward. "I remember your father," he said with a smile. "He was a good man and a fine craftsman. I'd be honored to help his son." Then another villager, a blacksmith, offered to help with the metal fittings. A group of young men offered their strong backs to help move the heavy lumber and finished pieces. The women of the village organized themselves to bring food and water to the workers, ensuring they stayed nourished and hydrated. The entire community, the very one David had tried to shut out, rallied around him. His lonely workshop was suddenly transformed into a bustling hub of activity filled with laughter, collaboration, and a shared sense of purpose. The work was still hard, but it was no longer a crushing burden. It was a shared effort. David was no longer just a lone carpenter. He was a leader, directing the flow of work, sharing his knowledge, and learning from the expertise of others. He saw the old carpenter use a technique he'd never seen before, and the blacksmith suggested a design for the drawer handles that was both stronger and more elegant. They didn't just help him build furniture. They made the final product even better. Working together, side by side, they completed the massive order right on schedule. The hotel owner was overjoyed with the exceptional quality and the spirit of community that was evident in every single piece. David had achieved his goal. The profits from the hotel contract were more than enough to finally build his furniture store. But as he stood there, watching the villagers celebrate their shared success, he realized the most important lesson he had learned had nothing to do with money or business. His dream hadn't been realized just through his own hard work. It was realized through collaboration, through community, and through the simple, profound courage to say, "I need help." He learned that our greatest achievements are rarely accomplished in isolation. We are stronger together. His dream of a furniture store became a reality. But it also became a symbol for the entire village, a testament to what they could achieve when they worked as one. David never again saw asking for help as a weakness. He saw it for what it truly is, the ultimate sign of strength and wisdom. So, what about you? Is there a dream you're chasing? A mountain you're trying to climb all by yourself? Remember David's story. Remember that your journey doesn't have to be a lonely one. Reaching out is not giving up. It's gearing up. It's about bringing more strength, more ideas, and more hearts into your mission, your community, your friends, your family. They are not just spectators in your life. They can be your greatest allies. Let go of the idea that you have to be a lone hero. The most successful people in the world know the secret. True power lies in connection. So build your team, share your burden, and watch how much faster and farther you can go. Thank you so much for watching. If this story resonated with you, please give it a thumbs up. And do not forget to subscribe for more content that we hope will inspire you on your own journey. See you in the next video.